Durst the worst?
Durst the worst.
Durst the worst.
Durst the worst.
Durst the worst.
Oh, Durst the worst.
Durst is the worst.
Durst 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 the worst.
Libs of TikTok always filling my feed with a daily dose of leftist cringe. Oh look. Peak Weimar shit. Boston Children's Hospital now offering gender-affirming hysterectomies for young girls. And that's just not totally ghastly at all. That's totally not just mutilation of mentally ill people at all. No, totally not that. Anybody that suggests that is just a bad person, right, YouTube algorithm? Let's check these butchers out, shall we?
Gender-affirming hysterectomy is very similar to most hysterectomies that occur.
Oh.
Hysterectomy itself is the removal of the uterus, the cervix, which is the opening of the uterus, and the fallopian tubes, which are attached to the sides of the uterus.
Look at how gleefully she talks about this. Removal of the uterus, cervix, and fallopian tubes. They, mind you, again, yeah, they're using TikTok videos and, you know, YouTube and Twitch influencers to target really, really, like, increasingly young kids with all this stuff. Lupron drugs and these, you know, these surgeries and stuff like that, which should be immediately just declared as medical malpractice and banned. People are, you know, on these Twitter threads, they're saying we should ban it for kids. Like, no kid, until they're 18, they shouldn't be allowed to do that. I mean, these people are obviously not going far enough. The quack doctors that do shit like this should be arrested, obviously, for fraud or abuse. I really don't know, malpractice, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, and the people also marketing these Lupron drugs and these surgeries to kids should also be, well, Minecraftian stuff.
Some gender-affirming hysterectomies will also include the removal of the ovaries, but that's technically a separate procedure called a bilateral oophorectomy. And not every gender-affirming hysterectomy includes that, and people who are getting gender-affirming hysterectomies do not have to have their ovaries removed.
They don't have to have their ovaries removed, but if you want to, come on in, even if you're like a really dumb 16-year-old. Look at it. Just again, I want to reiterate how this baby raping clown demon talks about this with like this soothing music in the background. Just
Hysterectomy itself is the removal of the uterus, the cervix, which is the opening of the uterus, and the fallopian tubes, which are attached to the sides of the uterus. Itself is the removal.
Oh my God.
Hysterectomy itself is the removal of the uterus, the cervix, which is the opening of the uterus, and the fallopian tubes, which are attached to the sides of the uterus. Some gender-affirming hysterectomies will also.
So this is just like a video brochure for, you know, really young people that want to do this. So, Billboard Chris is another resource. This guy's profiling the Troon agenda. Especially, and he does a pretty good job of documenting this. But also Christina Buttons. Let's check this out. Boston Children's Hospital boasts a, quote, full suite of surgical options for transgender teens. That's basically the video we just watched. That was a promotional video. Has 90 videos promoting surgeries to youth on their YouTube page. Co-director allows vaginoplasty on 17-year-olds, but hints at even younger. Fucking ghastly, right? Promotes... Boston Children's Hospital promotes the surgeries through video series on their official YouTube channel with titles like, quote, what you need to know before phalloplasty surgery. So, like, fake tilapia dick grafted onto your newly wounded crotch, I guess. It's just like, oh, wow. The 90 videos in the series paint a rosy picture of the genital, chest, and face surgeries they offer, accompanied by upbeat background music. Right, yeah, that's something that I pointed out before. It's like the soothing, you know, brochure music, like, you know, you'll love what we have, and it's you know, like, it's selling it to you, and it's like literally selling like mutilation procedures to really young people who are delusional because the internet made them so, because it's one big convoluted kosher scheme to finish what they started with your foreskin. But let's check out this Chris Elston. Wait, let's see, hold on a second. This is a video that I saw earlier of a detransitioner I found pretty interesting. But wait a minute. It's just kind of like in the middle of this article without any context. But no, I did watch this earlier. I wanted to show it to you guys. They're doing some sort of SB 107 for gender-affirming healthcare. I'm guessing that they're trying to promote it or not promote it, fund it or not fund it, ban it or not ban it, something like that. But listen to the story of this detransitioner, they're calling it. Listen to this person.
My name is Chloe Cole, and I am a 17-year-old detransitioner from the Central Valley. I was medically transitioned from ages 13 to 16. My parents took me to a therapist who affirmed my male identity, and the therapist did not care about causality or encourage me to learn to be comfortable in my body. He brushed off my parents' concerns about the efficacy of hormones, puberty blockers, and surgeries.
Right.
My parents were given the threat of suicide as a reason to move me forward in my transition. My endocrinologist...
Right, so it's all about ka-ching. It's not even asking, like, well, why and how do you feel this way? For how long have you felt this way? In what context? How severe is it? Questions about whether or not it's effective in the short or long term. It's just about the ka-ching, and it's using, oh, well, your kid's going to commit suicide if you don't give us the ka-ching, give us the shekels. And that's just got to be the most ghastly and cynical thing ever. And, it started decades ago with stuff like Ritalin and also circumcision, abortion, all that kosher stuff, all of that. Like, this is all a particular, or disproportionately at least, or if not disproportionately majority, a certain tribal persuasion, but we'll leave it at that.
After 2-3 appointments, puberty blockers, and
I digress.
testosterone. At age 15, I asked to remove my breasts. My therapist continued to affirm my transition. I attended a top surgery class that was filled with around 12 girls that thought they were men. Most were my age or younger. None of us were going to be men. We were fleeing from the uncomfortable feeling of becoming women. I was unknowingly physically cutting off my true self from my body, irreversibly and painfully.
Physically,
Our trans identities were not questioned. I went through with the surgery. Despite having therapists and attending the top surgery class, I really didn't understand all the ramifications of any of the medical decisions I was making. I wasn't capable of understanding, and it was downplayed consistently.
It's not even a medical, it's a cosmetic decision, isn't it? The framing is almost always off, even amongst the people that are rightfully criticizing this and calling it out. This is a cosmetic decision, you know what I mean? This is like a boob job or a anti-boob job, booboectomy, you know what I mean? But once this person gets into the long-term ramifications about how you will get into it, the damage that this person has incurred and how this wasn't even really discussed with this human being. It's really
my parents, on the other hand,
grody.
were pressured to continue my so-called gender journey with a suicide threat.
Yep.
I will never be able to breastfeed a child. I have blood clots in my urine. I am unable to fully empty my bladder. I do not yet know if I am capable of carrying a child to full term. In fact, even the doctors who put me on puberty blockers and testosterone do not know. SB 107 is circumventing state's laws that have needed safeguards in place so my story is not repeated. Children cannot consent. Vote no on SB 107.
Thank you. Now go to the hearing room for witnesses in opposition.
Vote no on that shit.
Go to the
Do not affirm the delusions of mentally ill kids.
name and organization.
Please.
I'm Ted Hudako from Contra Costa County. Oppose SB 107. Thank you.
There you go. Yeah, vote no on that, dude. You do not affirm a kid's delusion like that and allow the kid to make a permanent life-altering decision like that. You don't let some quack circumcise your kid. You don't let some quack put your kid on Ritalin. You don't let some quack put your kid on Lupron. You don't let some quack give your kid a hysterectomy or a fucking boobectomy or a dickoplasty or anything like that, okay? Like, you don't, like, in a sane, non-Weimar'd out society, none of this shit would be happening. Sound off in the comments if you agree, disagree. If you disagree, we're just going to fucking roast the shit out of you, honestly. But give my coffee or Subscribestar link some love. Check me out on Subscribestar. Oh, yeah, Subscribestar, coffee, what the fuck else? We got Odyssey, we got BitChute, we got Rumble, we got all of it. We got it all. Subscribe, yeah.